Like that child, my life was golden. Moving in these streets without being noticed.
People think I don't like NAS, right? I don't. You know what it is to play this. I was more hurt about NAS than it turned like the way I express myself is easier for me to express it angry. So it comes off like that when I start talking about it because I got frustrated about the situation.
You and 50 Cent have kind of somewhat gone back and forth. I know you had things to say at Central Park, and he's apparently had things to say about you and Khalees on the new Unheard Piggy Bank record. Do you have any comments on that?
Nah, I mean, 50 Cent is comes underneath me too. You know what I'm saying? He was with me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we have a history,
Yeah.
and obviously he was, going through some things and felt that I was against him, and I felt he was against me. So words were exchanged here and there. But nah, man, my thing is I'm all good, and he's fairly a new artist. You know what I'm saying? My goals are different from his goals. We're two different kind of guys. And I think we just hold it down.
Yeah.
We both hold it down. And this goes for any MC. I'm not into calling names no more. I'm past that. But, if I go in, I go in. If somebody really got to call me out, you know what I bring to the table. You know my record.
If you want to watch the uncut and uncensored version of 50 Cent versus Nas, What Happened, make sure you check out my Patreon. Subscriptions start out as low as $5 a month. You get 2-day early access to videos, a shout out in the beginning of every video, and exclusive Patreon-only videos coming soon. The link is in the description. Thanks for the support and enjoy the video. 50 Cent and Nas have a storied history that dates all the way back to the late 90s, before 50 Cent even signed his deal with Shady Aftermath. But eventually, their relationship would turn into a beef. Today, we break down the entire history of 50 Cent versus Nas. Let's get into it. In the mid to late 90s, a Queens rapper by the name of Nas would take the rap game by storm after dropping his all-time classic debut album, Illmatic, on April 19th, 1994. Nas would follow up on July 2nd, 1996, when he dropped his second studio album, It Was Written. During this time, a guy named Curtis Jackson, otherwise known as Boo Boo, would begin pursuing his rap career. After rapping in his homie's basement, Curtis would be introduced to Jam Master Jay of Run DMC, who was establishing his label Jam Master Jay Records. Jam Master Jay mentored Curtis, teaching him how to write in song format and make records. After that, Curtis would begin recording songs under the rap name 50 Cent. Eventually, in 1999, he would leave JMJ Records and signed with Columbia Records, which at the time, one of their biggest artists was Nas. The Trackmaster sent 50 Cent to a studio in upstate New York, where he would begin working on his debut studio album, Power of the Dollar. 50 Cent needed a song that got everyone's attention, so he decided to drop his commercial debut single, How to Rob, on August 10th, 1999. And on this track, he dissed the entire rap game at the time. One person he didn't diss, though, was Nas, who actually took a liking to 50 Cent. Nas would invite 50 Cent and Tony Ayo on his promo tour for his fourth studio album, Nostradamus, so it was clear that Nas was trying to help 50 come up as they formed a friendship. 50 even gave props to Nas on his diss track towards Ja Rule called Your Life's on the Line, which dropped on October 12th, 1999.
Now here's a list of MCs that could kill you in 8 bars. 50, Jay-Z and Nas.
Unfortunately, on May 24, 2000, 50 Cent was shot 9 times outside of his grandmother's house in South Jamaica. Shortly after getting shot, Nas and 50 would begin cooking up music in the studio. It's heavily rumored that 50 Cent was actually in the studio with Nas while he was recording his legendary diss track on Jay-Z called Ether. 50 Cent would make his comeback to music on April 26, 2002, when he dropped his debut mixtape, Guess Who's Back. And on this mixtape, he had 2 tracks that actually featured Nas. It would be in 2002 that the seeds for this beef would be planted. Let's backtrack to January 23rd, 2001. Jennifer Lopez dropped her single, I'm Gonna Be Alright. On the Trackmasters remix, 50 Cent was actually a feature on the song. This version of the song never actually released. Instead, Trackmasters and Irv Gotti replaced 50 Cent with Nas on this song, and on June 10th, 2002, the official remix was released of I'm Gonna Be Alright featuring Nas. Now this is where this beef would officially begin, because according to Nas, 50 felt a certain way that Nas did the song with J-Lo, and felt 50 held a grudge from that point. But according to 50, he wasn't frustrated that he did the song, he was just frustrated that Nas didn't call him, and said that Nas didn't do anything to actually help Bravehearts or anyone around him too much. 50 also didn't like the fact that Nas was hanging around Irv Gotti, who was CEO of Murder Inc., which was the label Ja Rule signed to, and 50 was bitter enemies with Irv. So 50 didn't like that Nas was hanging around Murder Inc.
Nas, yo, let me tell you something. Look, people think I don't like Nas, right? I don't. You know what it is to play this. I was more hurt about Nas than it turned. Like the way I express myself is easier for me to express it angry. So it comes off like that when I start talking about him, because I got frustrated about the situation. Because like with the whole crew, like he was in position, cool, for real. You know this.
He used to big you up though, crazy.
Yeah, he was. I mean, early on, and I'm like.
Come to TurboTax and don't do your taxes. Meet with one of our experts who will do your taxes for you, so you can do anything else.
I rock with him. Like he took me on a promo tour, first tour.
Word?
He took me on
Wow. Nostradamus.
Nostradamus. Yayo was
I
with
was
me.
there too. Wow.
It was just me and Yayo before. This is before Banks came to picture everything. You know what I'm saying? He took me on his tour. We was riding with him, everything good. Like I seen some things that was like instead of him actually vibing with everybody that's on the tour, like he would have his book off to the side, like you know what I'm saying?
That's his vibe though. He keeps
like,
himself.
That's how he is, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't understand how when he was in position, how he didn't do anything to set up his crew. You feel what I'm saying? Like the Bravehearts, like at the time, Jungle, Wiz, Horse, all of them. And we was all on the same van together. We wasn't even on a bus.
Right.
Like vans together, riding. And it was like, I was honored to even be allowed on his tour at that point, because I didn't have anything by How to Rob at that point. You know, he just said, yo, that record feels crazy. It reminds me of when I came out. He had options. He could have took Nature. Could have took other, there's other artists around it with AZ. Fox, he could have took whoever he wanted to take with him. And he said, no, he wanted me to come with him. So I went with him.
Did he have was the Firm still popping back then?
The Firm, I don't think he liked anything that was a conflict to him shining as Nas. You feel what I'm saying? And that's my assumption after the fact. Because I didn't understand why he didn't utilize all that at that point. Like even after Uchiwali came out, they had a smash, man.
But you know what? Originally he wasn't on that record. The record that when they gave me up on a mixtape, Nas wasn't on that record.
Right.
He hopped on at the end and they shot the video for it.
But that's when it was working. It was working when they gave it to you, Clue. And then he got on the joint because it was working, and then he didn't travel with him to support it. What's the difference?
I don't know about.
All right, ask me this. What's the difference between Bravehearts and G-Unit? It's momentum. When I had the momentum, I worked them in, Clue. I could have sold a blank CD after Get Rich or Die Trying. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? That's the real deal, man. And then after we get going, like they was established, they got groomed. Yeah, he was already grown because he was with me even then. So when he's locked up and he's going through
Y'all
what he's
sounded
going,
crazy on the mixtape. Just on the mixtape alone, y'all sounded like, you know what I mean?
like we was already veterans because we was getting knocked around. If White Nas had that energy, he could have helped them get into a decent space financially before going, you know what, y'all on your own. He didn't really give them that support and then said, now y'all on your own. I still talk to Lord, Spunk, the people who was there that wasn't a part of the music.
Right.
You know what I mean? And we all good. It's just I didn't see him doing like he just looked, and then his character.
Have you seen him and spoke to him?
No,
recently? Not at all.
No.
Not since then.
And I haven't seen him.
Wow.
Yeah, like I had a conversation. Look, he wanted to do the same thing that Jay did to him with Carmen, to Mega. Cause he called me to get Holly number in Queens, Circle 5, and Mega was messing with it at the time. He was tight at Mega at the time. He sent me to go get the number. I went through there, And then after that, it was like he called me like 3 times that night to tell me what was going on. You know what I'm saying? And then when I did the Jennifer Lopez joint, I did a remix for Jennifer, because the first thing I did is Puffy called me back to help him with the Make This Money.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And after I did that, then I was working with Jennifer. I did a remix on one of her joints. And then Irv started crying, and Donnie and them, and was like, yo, what are you going to do? This guy's exactly what he says he is on these records. You know what I mean? Why you want to do business? What happens when he gets mad and he does this something to Jennifer? So he was kind of using me against me at the time, and then they pulled back off. He was like, use Nas. Nas just beat Jay-Z. They just went through the ether, that little back and forth thing. You know what I'm saying? And then Nas ended up doing the record. I wasn't mad that he did the record. I was mad that he didn't call me. You called me 3 times to ask me about Mega's girl. And then you didn't call me when you did the record though.
After this incident, no shots were taken at each other on wax just yet, as 50 would go on to be signed to Shady Aftermath, and on January 1st, 2003, G-Unit dropped their mixtape Automatic Gunfire, and on the track Bang Bang, 50 Cent name drops Nas's girlfriend at the time, singer Khalees.
Remember Patrice, she looked like Khalees.
On February 6, 2003, 50 Cent dropped his debut studio album, Get Rich or Die Tryin'. On this album is one of his most iconic songs called Many Men. Not many people know that this beat was originally supposed to go to Nas. Nas's former A&R at the time would confirm this in an interview, saying, in quotes, 50 Cent's song Many Men was a Nas track first. He actually vocaled it. He was developing another artist named Nashawn. He had to massively impress Nas. If Nas started something, he would add his vocal to it and see if Nas would be impressed enough to keep it. Nas didn't finish that track. That track was just a track that he just fell out of love with. Since Nas didn't want the beat, Nicholson asked if he can give it to 50, who was blowing up at the time. 50 also mentioned Nas on the song High All the Time, saying that he's going at Nas and Jay-Z for the throne as the King of New York.
If David could go against Goliath with a stone, I could go at Nas and Jigga, both for the throne.
Now, many people think 50 Cent just dissed Nas for no reason, but that's actually not the case. In 2004, Nas was performing in New York Central Park, and while he was on stage, he would actually diss 50 Cent when he would thank the crowd for coming out to support real street hip-hop and not that 50 Cent. Nas would continue to diss 50 Cent on stage on multiple occasions throughout the year. Eventually, 50 got wind of this, so on September 19th, 2004, Lloyd Banks dropped his mixtape Mo Money in the Bank Volume 3 Cashing In. And on the track Burying Bodies featuring 50 Cent, 50 actually disses Nas, saying that Nas don't want it with him.
Skyscraper, high rising, skyscraper, tops, plenty paper, money, plenty paper. We getting it. Tell my haters, tell them what? Tell my haters, tell them what? I'm on a mission, I'm on one. I see them later. Let's get it. Skyscraper, skyscraper, all them, plenty paper, 149, plenty paper. Tell my haters, tell my haters, we're legends is born. I'm on a mission. Let's get it. I see them later. You know what time it is? Skyscrapers. New paper, green gators, matching new paper. Money, ice Sylvan, black Oakland Raiders. Shining. More money, more problems, old haters. I'm serving all tables like a waiter. Feeling like Snowman, got my weight up. Riding down A-Fab, bumping Jada. Letter to Big, y'all know what it is. Skyscraper, high rising, skyscraper, tops. Plenty paper, money, plenty paper. We getting it. Tell my haters, tell them what? Tell my haters, tell them what? I'm on a mission, I'm on one. I see them later. Let's get it. Skyscraper, skyscraper, all them, plenty paper, 149, plenty paper. Tell my haters, tell my haters, we're legends is born. I'm on a mission. Let's get it. I see them later.